let's proceed. So we were talking about. All right, perfect, perfect. Thank you. Hi, Sai. How are you? How are you all? Yes, actually, by mistake that happened. Yes, yes, yes. Uh, a very good noon to all of you who are here. Monkey, Vinay, Sai, Karthik, Adarsh. Hi, Gaurav, Avantika. All right. So today's session is dedicated to para completion. I'm sure you've seen your CAT 2022 papers, and in those papers, you must have spotted these questions wherein a paragraph was given to you. Then there were some blanks, okay, there were some spaces in that paragraph. A sentence was already given to you. You had to decide the position of that sentence. Okay, so have a look at your previous year papers in case you haven't. This question type came in all the slots last year. And that is why this session, because we should be prepared to handle such questions. So today we are going to learn how to approach a paragraph, how to read a paragraph, understand it, and then we will talk about how to eliminate the incorrect options, right? What should be our strategy? For CMAT aspirants, it may be because on and off, I have seen a couple of such questions, but to be honest, I haven't seen many para completion questions in CMAT, right? So, for a general understanding of what a paragraph is, how to comprehend a paragraph, that part will be useful for you. Okay, all right then. Let's talk about para completion in detail. So, I have already told you the agenda of the session. We'll learn how to approach and we'll practice some questions. Then the first thing that you should learn whenever you are preparing for any question type is what is it that you're supposed to do. So the first thing that you're supposed to do in a para completion question is reading the paragraph. So you should know what a paragraph really is, isn't it? So who will tell me what a paragraph is? We've covered this when we did para summary. We had this discussion back then as well. All right, what is a paragraph? Need to know this from you. Is it that difficult to define a paragraph? It's a collection of sentences. Yes. What kind of sentences are these? Tell me. What kind of sentences are these? A group of words that forms a sentence. I'm talking about a paragraph. So these are interconnected sentences. Yeah, they are connected to each other in some way. In what way are they connected to each other? They usually talk about some common thing, isn't it? So a paragraph is a group of interconnected sentences. In what way are they interconnected? They talk about some common thing, a common theme, right? And that is why, we've put them in one single paragraph. Right. So understanding this is crucial because when you're trying to attempt a question where you are trying to plug a sentence in a paragraph or decide which sentence fits in the paragraph, you first need to know what relationship do the various sentences carry. What is the common theme of the paragraph? Right. That is why, in a para completion question, we tell you that the immediate preceding sentence and the immediate succeeding sentence. Let's say my middle sentence is missing. Then the immediate preceding sentence and the immediate succeeding sentence, they carry a lot of importance because it's quite likely that this middle sentence will share its theme, will share its scope, its range with these preceding and succeeding sentences, isn't it? So, uh, therefore, we should pay attention to the other sentences also, as all of these are interconnected. That's your first lesson. Okay. Summary. Oh, this is a common misconception that a paragraph. Are you saying that a paragraph is a summary? Um, Not necessary. A paragraph doesn't have to be a summary paragraph. It could be an introductory paragraph. It could be a paragraph that elaborates something said in the previous paragraph. It could be a paragraph that is contradicting something said in the previous one. So a paragraph doesn't just have one function, that is summarizing something. It could be detailing something, in fact. Right? Okay. So now, in your exam, what all question types are you asked? Let me just tell you this. Then we'll come to the approach, how we approach these questions. So it may so happen that the rest of the paragraph is given to you, just the first sentence has been deleted. So it's the missing opening sentence. Then the missing closing sentence, wherein everything else is given, just the last sentence is missing. You have to complete the paragraph by plugging in that last sentence. Missing middle sentence, by middle I mean the intermediate sentence, that some sentence in between is missing. First, last, they are there in their correct place. The middle sentence is missing. You have to plug that in. And the one that came in CAT 2022, wherein the sentence is already given to you, you have to decide at what place in the paragraph does it fit. So some blanks in the paragraph will be given to you. You have to decide where in the paragraph exactly that sentence fits. These are your question types. Now, let's see, can para jumbles help us in attempting para completion questions? If you ask me, your CAT VARC section, okay, everything in the section is related to the other thing. So for instance, the RC passages, if let's say you are practicing, you're preparing for RC passages, you are automatically preparing for the VA part as well, because you're reading here, you are reading diverse genres. Okay, you are understanding the structure of paragraphs, the structure of sentences, which is what is questioned in the VA part, parajumbles. Right. It's about arranging sentences. So the more well-read you are, the better you will perform here. Similarly, for para completion, para jumbles will help you. Why? Because what are para jumbles? You are arranging sentences there. You are deciding, okay, which sentence goes where. In para completion also, you are deciding which sentence should go in the beginning, which sentence should go at the end, which sentence should go in the middle, what should be the exact position of a sentence. So we've already had a session on parajumbles. Please go through that session. We have talked to you there about what all can help you when you attempt parajumbles. And everything that you learn there will be applicable here as well. Make sense? Okay. So, see, when we are trying to arrange sentences, grammar can actually be of great help. For example, you know this is a classic example. If let's say one sentence says, this is unacceptable. Okay, so this is not acceptable, right? Now, this, the moment you see this, the question that arises in in your mind, my mind is what? Maybe there is some other sentence that actually explains what this is. So therefore, that sentence is most likely going to come first and this sentence will come later. So here grammar helped me. Through the help of this pronoun, this, I decided that, okay, this refers to some noun, okay, something, and that thing should come first. So be on the lookout of such grammar based clues, particularly connectors or conjunctions. Words such as but, as a result, on the contrary, additionally, they express specific relationships, logical relationships, right? So these connectors, always be on the lookout for them and arrange the sentences accordingly. Okay, so in para completion, for instance, if you have stated something, okay, so let's say you gave a positive aspect of a certain policy, then there is a blank that you have to plug in. After the blank, you see that we are talking about the negative aspect of that policy. That means this sentence is the sentence where that transition happened from positive to negative. So most likely this sentence is going to have a contradictory connector, a contrast connector, something on the lines of but, however. So let's say here I stated the advantage, and then I say, but the policy is not without disadvantages. Okay, and then I started stating the disadvantages. Okay, so pay attention to these connectors as well. Okay, what else? Fine, grammar based clues ho gaye. You all know about it also. But what else can actually help me in para completion? Something that was relevant in para jumbles also. Understanding the theme of the paragraph. Understanding what the paragraph is about. What is it describing? Okay, what are the preceding and succeeding sentences saying? So, theme based clues. When certain words are repeated, certain ideas are repeated, certain ideas are contrasted on. Understanding the structure of the paragraph. Okay, so this was the definition. This is now an example. These are called theme based clues. Structure, repetition of ideas, then comparison, contrast, anything of that sort that is happening. So far, so good. Yes. Hope all of this is making sense to you. It's important to understand this before actually jumping to the questions, because if we do not have the right technique, we'll attempt the questions in a very haphazard manner. Sometimes we'll get them right, sometimes we won't. I want to eliminate the part about not getting it right. Okay. The last thing that you should pay attention to. Something that you have been doing in para jumbles also. So in case any of you prepared for CAT in 2022, you know this, that in odd sentence para jumbles, we particularly pay attention to the tone of the sentences, the range. What exactly is it that the sentences are talking about? This range is called scope also. Right. So, tone of the sentence. If let's say the entire paragraph has a positive tone, a clearly, evidently positive tone, then it's highly likely that the missing sentence is also going to have a positive tone. So, understand the tone of the paragraph well. If the paragraph is talking about how poverty is a social evil, it is talking about its social evil aspect, the social disadvantages or the social negative consequences of poverty, then if the other sentences are talking about it and a sentence is missing there, suddenly that sentence won't start talking about, let's say, the economic aspects instead of the social aspects. Because the range right now is focusing on its social negative consequences, not on the economic negative consequences. You get it? So, this is the range of discussion in any paragraph. All right. So I hope this is something that you've understood, what all to pay attention to when deciding which sentence should be fitted in the paragraph. Grammar, theme, tone, and scope. Okay. So let's look at our first question type, the case of the missing closing sentence. This is a very common question type. That's why I'm dealing with this first, right? Present not only in CAT but also in your OMETs, other management entrance tests, wherein the rest of the paragraph is given to you, just the last sentence is missing. So, my suggestion to you is that don't go with this misconception that the last sentence is always going to be the conclusion. A lot of students think this. Last sentence is the conclusion hona chahiye. This is a paragraph. It's not an entire essay that the last sentence always has to be a conclusion. Then some students have this notion that the last sentence should always be a summary. It should summarize whatever has been stated earlier. Again, not necessary. Okay. Let's say I tell you, I begin a paragraph like this. The policy, continuing our previous example, the policy has many advantages. And then the rest of the paragraph simply lists those advantages. For instance, A, B, C. That's it. No summaries, no conclusions. So the last sentence may simply just be related to the preceding sentence. Pay attention to the preceding sentence. It may simply be a continuation of that. It may simply be an emphasis on what has been stated earlier. Just a sentence that reiterates what has been stated earlier, emphasizes what has been stated earlier. Okay, something that acts as a precursor to what is going to come in the next paragraph. Okay, gives you a hint of what is going to come in the next paragraph. So the last sentence can be a lot of things. Please don't have these notions, बस conclusion ही होगा या summary ही होगा. Clear? Okay. Now these are your instructions. I have picked up these instructions right from your previous year papers only, right? The question contains a paragraph from which the last sentence has been deleted. From the given options, choose the one that completes the paragraph most logically and coherently. And you have to then mark the appropriate option. So logic, theme, tone, scope, coherence, again, you're paying attention to those things. Okay. So I hope you'll apply whatever we have learned so far. Sai, for vocabulary, I will definitely talk to you towards the end of the session. Okay. Let's complete this because we have four question types in fact, and questions on these question types. All right. So this is your question here. I hope I'm not blocking any text. And this is your paragraph. The last sentence here is missing, right? You have to tell me which of the following options fits. Remember that you should eliminate. Your correct answer is the answer that is closest to the paragraph based on the things that we have discussed. Let's see what you say. And I'm going to go invisible for a while so that I don't block any text. Right. I want you to attempt this. Done. Yes, have we completed? I have not got any response so far. I want you all to at least try the question. Otherwise, what's the point? All right, then I'll discuss this anyway. See this. So here the last sentence is missing, isn't it? Now, let's read, understand the paragraph. It's an easy paragraph. There are no difficult words as such. So nothing abstract about it. What happens to our brains as we age is of crucial importance, not just to science, but to public policy. Okay. By 2030, for example, 72 million people in the US will be over 65, double the figure in 2000, and their average life expectancy will likely have edged above 20 years. Okay. However, pay attention to these things. See, this is an example that has been used to substantiate the previous claim. Here we are now going to contradict something. However, this demographic time bomb, we are calling this aging population a demographic time bomb. It would be much less threatening if the elderly were looked upon as intelligent contributors to the society rather than as dependents in long term decline. Okay. So we are saying that, what happens to our brains as we age, this is relevant to public policy also, because see, there are going to be so many people in the future who are going to be elderly. However, the author does tell us that, we should not look at this as a negative thing, but rather as a positive thing. We should look at the elderly as intelligent contributors to society. Now you have to decide what is going to be the last sentence. Okay, so Divij says B is the last sentence. Good, Divij. B is the answer here. Let's see why. The idea that we get dumber as we grow older is just a myth, according to brain research that will encourage anyone old enough to know better. Look at the tone of sentence A and the tone of the paragraph. The tone of the paragraph, it is very, it's very argumentative and it's relatively formal. Whereas, look at this, the idea that we get dumber as we grow older. First of all, this we suddenly comes into the picture. This first person, narrative. This is called narrative. So, first person narrative ekdam se aa gaya. Whereas, it was there fine in the beginning. Okay. But even the tone does not match. The idea that we get dumber as we grow older. See the idea that the author has mentioned in the previous sentence. The preceding sentence clearly says that we should look at it as a positive thing and not as a negative thing. So the last sentence is most likely to address this idea. And it is option B that addresses this idea. It is time we rethink what we mean by the aging mind before our false assumptions result in decisions and policies. See, continuing the policy discussion that marginalize the old or waste precious public resources to remediate problems that do not exist. So the author is saying, let's not look at it as a problem, and it is time that we should do it right now. Otherwise, we'll waste money on solving problems that don't even exist. So very neatly matches the flow of the paragraph. So pay attention to the flow of the paragraph, the theme of the paragraph, okay, the scope, that is the immediate preceding sentence particularly, and you will get your answer. Okay. Let's look at C and D also for our knowledge. Many of the assumptions scientists currently make about cognitive decline are seriously flawed and for the most part formally invalid. So see, first of all, we did not indulge in any scientific discussion before this. So this suddenly comes into the picture. This is abrupt. Okay, we are rather talking about policy making, policy implications. So, no, does not match in terms of scope. D, using computer models to simulate young and old brains, Ramsker and his colleagues. Suddenly, Ramsker and his colleagues come into the picture. Okay, this does not even match thematically because we hadn't discussed Ramsker and his colleagues earlier. So theme, tone, scope, these are the bases on which I eliminated options here. This is how you attempt a para-completion question. Now, I'm giving you 1.5 minutes for the next one, and I want all of you to sincerely attempt it and tell me the answer. This is a CAT 2006 question. Let me see what you say here. Yes, 1.5 minutes. So 5 options, because there were 5 options in CAT 2006. Usually you have 4 options. What do you say? Hi, Shrikant. Relations between the factory and the dealer. So let's see who all is involved here. There's the factory, there are dealers. A or B looks like A. All right. Let's see. And there are customers. Yes. So relations between the factory and the dealer are distant and usually strained, as the factory tries to force cars on the dealers to smooth out production. Relations between the dealer and the customer are also equally strained. So these are also not very good, because dealers continuously adjust prices, that is, make deals to adjust demand with supply while maximizing profits. This becomes a system marked by a lack of long-term commitment on either side, right? Which maximize feelings of mistrust. So basically, there are no peaceful relationships here also there is mistrust that exists. In order to maximize their bargaining positions, everyone meaning all these parties, in order to maximize their bargaining positions, everyone holds back information. The dealer about the product, the consumer about his true desires, right? But remember that the factory is also a part of the picture. The manufacturer is also a part of this picture. We saw that in our previous sentences. Now, as a result, deal making becomes rampant without concern for customer satisfaction. If you look at the paragraph carefully, the word deal making, the term deal making was already given here. Okay, that they make deals to adjust demand with supply while maximizing profits. So why repeat this idea towards the end? As a result, deal making becomes rampant without concern for customer satisfaction, right? So one thing is that this has already been mentioned. Another thing is that this just focuses on the dealers and the customers, right? And mostly on the customers, not even completely on the dealers. So, no. As a result, inefficiencies creep into the supply chain. How? Uh, See, we are not just concerned about the supply side here, we are also concerned about the demand side here, the consumer side here. So, this is a very narrow answer, a very narrow sentence after we have talked about all the three parties. Eliminated. As a result, everyone treats the other as an adversary rather than as an ally. This is something that has again already been discussed, that there is mistrust. There's a lack of long-term commitment. Okay, so uh, this is not a result really. This is something that happens, and because of this, something else is going to happen. When everybody mistrusts the other party, what is the result? That is what you had to capture in the last sentence. This idea of not trusting, this idea of treating the other as an adversary, already discussed. It is not a result. It is rather something that happens before to result in something else between D and E. As a result, fundamental innovations are becoming scarce, not at all related, thematically unrelated. So eliminated on the basis of theme. As a result, what happens is everyone was there in the preceding sentence. Everyone, all the parties, they lose in the long run. Okay, because there's a lack of long-term commitment, right? They're hiding information, so everyone will lose in the long run. right? Good. AC said E. E is the answer here. This was a tricky question, I admit. Okay, it was not an easy one. That's why I first gave you a relatively easier question and then I came to this. Okay, a CAT 2006 question with 5 options. So I hope now you'll remember how to attempt. See how I eliminated options. Already mentioned, not capturing what was discussed in the preceding sentence, thematically unrelated. These were my bases. Okay, then let's talk about the other question type, the next question type, which came in CAT 2022, the position decider. Wherein the sentence is already given to you, you have to decide where in the paragraph this sentence fits. So again, here parajumbles again will come in very handy, because see, when you're trying to plug a sentence between two already given sentences, when you're trying to plug a sentence there, so grammar based clues will also help you. The scope, the theme, what is discussed in these paragraph, in these sentences will also help you, right? What is the tone of these sentences, that will help you. What exactly are they discussing, what is their immediate scope, all of those things are going to help you, right? So um, keep all those rules in mind and you'll do good here. Okay, and moreover, these questions in CAT 2022 were on the easier side. You can see for yourself. Preceding, succeeding sentences, as I told you, they become very, very important. And pay attention to the flow of the other sentences also. Don't just remain confined to the sentences that are there after or before the blanks. Pay attention to the flow of the sentences, because a lot of times you will realize that okay, there is a blank between S3 and S4, but S3 and S4 make sense together. They make perfect sense together. They are pairs. Nothing can come in between them. So automatically that helps in eliminating this position. This option is eliminated then. The sentence won't come here. So pay attention to the flow of the sentences, whether they make pairs or not. Ultimately, it's para-jumble in a different form. Okay, let's see a question then. These are the instructions. There is a sentence that is missing in the paragraph below. Look at the paragraph and decide in which blank, option 1, 2, 3 or 4, the following sentence would best fit. So this is the sentence that you have to fit. It will fit in one of these blanks. What is that? What is that position? You just have to tell me that. It's that easy. So I think the connection is very easy to make. There's a very clear grammar based connection here that you can make. I even helped you with some grammar based clues. What do you say? Come on, such an easy question. These are free 3 marks. All right, then let's discuss. See, if you see, I highlighted this but here because there is a contradiction, right? Um, it talks about how, ghee was a respected staple, something that's very commonly eaten of the subcontinental diet, but it fell out of favor a few decades ago. Fell out of favor, that means uh, people reduced its consumption. They didn't like consuming it. It fell out of favor a few decades ago when saturated fats were largely considered to be unhealthy. So, because of health reasons. But more recently, as the thinking around saturated fats is shifting globally. So now, see, I'm saying that this happened. And then I say, but now the opposite is happening. So there is a clear connection. They are pairs, right? One cannot be the answer. But more recently, as the thinking around saturated fats is shifting globally, Indians are finding their own way back to this ingredient that is so integral to their cuisine, right? Now, here there's a blank, and I don't know, maybe it can come here, right? But let's look at the sentence. This was years in the making. What? What was years in the making? But fast tracked during the pandemic, when people started being more mindful about their food, he explained. So, something needs to be stated before this, and there is a he that we are talking about. Karmakar looks like the name of a person. For Karmakar, a renewed interest in ghee is emblematic of a return to basics movement in India. Return to basics movement. This was years in the making. This movement was years in the making, but fast tracked during the pandemic. So now I quote Karmakar and say he explained. Okay, so it is option 3 that fits the best. Here the sentence fits the best. I haven't even seen 4 till now, but I'm pretty sure that 3 is the answer. Make sense, Vinay? See, if I look at the fourth one, this movement is also part of an overall trend towards slow food. In keeping with the movement's philosophy, ghee can be produced locally, even at home, and has inextricable cultural ties. Then there is a blank. At a basic level, ghee is a type of clarified butter. So now you see that in these two sentences, we are more concerned about ghee's production, what ghee actually is, rather than about people's perception of ghee, rather than about how it has become popular again. So the theme, the scope has shifted, does not match the scope. This sentence does not match the scope of this discussion. Hence, 3. All right. Another question then. Let's have a look at this. Again, a position decider question. If you observe carefully, I've been applying the principles of parajumbles at the end. So yes, do that and tell me. Again, an easy question. Let me see how much time you take. Give me at least 5, 6 responses. Come on. Again, grammar-based clues help you here as well. What is the topic of discussion in the sentence? The internet? Yes. Where do we talk about the internet? Also look at the theme here. What is being discussed? The content of this sentence. Having made citizens more and less knowledgeable. It has made citizens more knowledgeable also and less knowledgeable also than their predecessors. The internet has proved to be both a blessing and a curse. Doesn't it look like a sentence that will come after we have described how it has made citizens more knowledgeable and how it has made them less knowledgeable? Right at the outset, I can see that this is the kind of sentence that will come once I've discussed the advantages and disadvantages of internet for the citizens. So I discuss that, okay, it is not clear. First of all, I say it is not clear whether they are more knowledgeable. Then I talk about how they are more knowledgeable. Then I discuss how they are less knowledgeable. Right. So it's either 3 or 4. Now, if you see, this says it has let people choose sources. What is this it? The internet. So it should come here in blank 3. Good. Divij Vinay, absolutely correct. Option 3 is the answer. Right. So these questions tend to be easy. Both of these questions that I just showed you, they came in CAT 2022, actual exam questions. And if you were able to attempt them correctly, then you are probably good to go when it comes to this question type. Unless you get something extremely difficult, then all the clues that we have discussed, put them into practice. Okay. Then look for multiple clues, not just grammar based, not just theme based. Okay. Pay attention to repetitions, pay attention to contradictions, all of those things. Okay. Now the easier question types, the missing opening sentence, missing middle sentence, they tend to be relatively easier. Why? Because what role can the opening sentence play in the paragraph? It can be in the nature of a definition. It can be in the nature of an introduction, which let's say then has been explained, treated, elaborated throughout the paragraph. It can probably continue a previous idea, but in a fresh light. So that element of, you know, in a way, introducing something or carrying forward an idea in a fresh light will usually be there in the opening sentence. And that is why this is relatively easier to identify. Okay, so I'll just show you an example which will make it clearer to you. It can be an introduction, definition, a continuation or contrast of a previous idea. These can be the roles. Okay, so this is your instruction. The first sentence has been deleted. You have to choose the blank. You have to choose the sentence that fills in the blank most logically and coherently. So this is the sentence. You yourself will realize how easy it is. See, pay attention to this for example, and I think you'll solve this question very easily. Yes, tell me what the answer should be. What do you say? So we have to write something here whose example or whose explanation of sorts is given in the next sentence. So pay attention to the succeeding sentence because of course there's no preceding sentence here. In Southeast Asia, for example, climate and lifestyle factors mean that people spend much more time in shopping malls than Europeans do, who might go shopping once a fortnight. So, this is what these are when we say lifestyle factors, these are an example of cultural factors, yes? The culture that exists in a place. So, culture plays an important role in shaping the shopping experience. And if you see the other options don't fit, even if you didn't gauge this, that okay, this should be the answer, you can eliminate the others. These discussions that people enjoy shopping and comparing brands and prices, these will come perhaps later. Right now, we are saying that there are certain factors that actually shape how we shop. This has to be stated here, right? Discounts is not the idea, prices, brands, that's not the idea that we are talking about. Then gender behavior has been discussed later on. Gender behavior is discussed later on. So this will probably come here. Okay, this will come here. When it comes to shopping, men hunt and women gather. This could be the last sentence, in fact. Okay, the sentence that can be plugged in here. It is D. That is the answer. Good. Divij, Vinay, absolutely correct. Okay. Let's now talk about the missing intermediate sentence. This is the easiest question type in my opinion. Why? Because you have double the help here. You have the help of the preceding sentence also and the succeeding sentence also. So make use of that. Okay. Let's see. These are your instructions. There is a paragraph from which a sentence has been deleted. You have to fill in the blank. Let's see what you say. For example was important there because we were giving an example of some types of factors there. Okay, so that for example showed me that the previous discussion should also be related to the climate and lifestyle factors, right? That's why it was an important term there. Let's see what you say here. Okay, I've got one response. Others? Postponed from last year. So for some reason they were postponed, the Tokyo Olympics. They are set to begin this year. The locals are wary. The athletes are anxious. Training sessions have been cut short and there are a lot of restrictions. Why do you think that might be happening? That has not been stated so far. There's a blank. And then pay attention to the word yet. Yet Japan is in many ways is seen as a safe choice. So that means the previous one would talk about something negative because after a contrast word yet, I am stating something positive. Yet Japan in many ways is seen as a safe choice. Safe for what? Safe from what? That has again not been stated so far. Okay. So probably this sentence will state that. Because of its past experience in hosting big events, it has an impeccable reputation for discipline and the ability to deliver the goods. Right. Now, the Japanese are anxious but ready to welcome the athletes, yet Japan in many ways is seen as a safe choice. So there is no contrast between these two ideas as such, right? Uh, we have to talk about something that is related to lack of safety, perhaps. The shadow of the pandemic. So now this tells me why this all of this is happening. It's an explanation. Why is it that the locals are wary, the athletes are anxious, training sessions have been cut short, restrictions are extensive? Because of the pandemic. And the shadow of the pandemic still looms large. The threat is not over. Okay, so it looms large over the Tokyo Olympics. The threat is not over, yet Japan in many ways is seen as a safe choice. So negative, positive. B, Bangalore. Good. Those who said B. Now let's look at C and D. The International Olympic Committee has fully supported the Tokyo Games. That's a positive thing, right? Then why the yet? This could probably be a reason why the International Olympic Committee has supported that, okay, Japan is a safe choice. It's not a contrast then if you're placing C here. No. Japan is going through an economic recession and could run out of funds. Why the economic discussion suddenly? Yes. Does that explain why people are anxious and wary? Yes. Does that talk about lack of safety? Option D? It does not. So, this is unrelated in terms of scope. Right now, the discussion is about health, disease, pandemic, not economy. Perfect. So, B is the answer here. I hope the questions that we have done today, they are clear to you, right? Some of these questions were quite easy. You must have seen that. And in position decider questions, in para completion questions, I brought to you the level that is there in the exams. Okay. So I didn't try to make it easier for you on purpose or more difficult for you on purpose. It's the actual level. So please keep those things in mind that I've told you, all the clues that I've talked about, and always, always eliminate. Right? The correct answer is always the one that is closest to the paragraph in terms of theme, tone, and immediate scope. Remember these three also. Clear? Any queries you can ask. Now, someone asked about vocabulary, how to build vocabulary. So, this is something that I have been reiterating. First of all, if you are enrolled with us, then we do provide you a book for VARC where you have these amazing chapters on vocabulary. So, please go through those chapters, right? So, I think this is here 4 hard copy books that we provide you. One of them is of VARC, wherein we have some chapters on vocabulary which help you to learn words in a very interesting manner. So, go through that. Second thing that you can do is that you go through a vocabulary book. See, you still have time for CAT 2023. You utilize this time well. Okay, so I have always suggested word power made easy to you for this purpose. That could be one source from which you can start building your vocabulary. It alone will add at least 1,000 words to your vocabulary, even if you are already good at it. Right? So go for these high frequency words. Play vocabulary games. On the BYJU'S exam prep app, you have certain vocabulary tests. Go through those vocabulary tests. Practice questions, vocabulary questions. The more questions you practice, again, the more words you will learn contextually, indirectly. So go through these things and you'll see that your vocabulary has improved. All that is needed is consistency. The main problem that students have with vocabulary is not that sources are not available. It's just that they are not consistent with those sources. Right? So do this. And in case you're enrolled, then I think there's no problem, right? So this is our CAT 23 comprehensive program. You can see that we offer a lot of features under it. In case you are interested in enrolling, I would suggest that you should enroll by now. Okay, you do need some months to prepare for CAT. The link is there in the description box. Other than word power made easy, there is 30 days to a more powerful vocabulary. 30 days to a more powerful vocabulary. Sorry. This is also a book. It's again by Norman Louis. He has written it in collaboration with another author. This will also add words to your vocabulary. Then, apart from this, I have suggested this app to you also, Vocabulary Builder. So, I find this app to be helpful. So, you can consider downloading this also. Right? So, yes. The link is in the description box, and we do offer scholarships to make this course more accessible for you. You can get up to a 90% scholarship if you perform well in this scholarship test that will happen on the 18th Feb at 7 p.m. You have to register for it first, so register for it right now. Okay, and you can see that students have actually bagged scholarships collectively of up to rupees 1 crore, right? So there is a chance the course can be very accessible. Okay. The last lap to testnet, it's beginning today, right? No, wait, today's 15th. हाँ, ठीक है. It's beginning today itself at 8 p.m. Do attend it. Okay, in 8 days, we'll cover some important areas with you, particularly those of you who are concerned about testnet RC passages. There is a session today by Vikrant sir. Attend it. In case vocabulary is a general concern with you, right? Vocabulary build karni hai, then we have a lot of sessions on our channel for that. And tomorrow also I'll be coming up with a testnet based vocabulary session. See, vocabulary is vocabulary no matter in which exam it is coming, so you can attend that also. Okay, then MAHCET, in case you are taking it, you should take this mock. It's free, right? It's open to everyone, and you should attempt it. It's already live. Do stay connected. I hope you have already subscribed to the channel, you have already liked the session, and you can also download our app if you want to build your basics. So yes, you were asking about vocabulary. We have conducted some very interesting cat-based vocabulary sessions on the app for Cat 23 under various series. So you can, seek them out. Yes, stay connected with us. We are very active on social media. Thank you for attending. I will catch you in the next session. Bye bye. Keep preparing.